Hi, beautiful board gamers. I'm Jayne.
And I'm Jen.
And we're SpielMill, and we wanted to talk to you about our 5x5 that we did in January.
So we really had a couple years where we weren't able to get a lot of games to the table, and that sort of changed recently. We've been able to actually sit at the table and play some heavier games. So we were super excited about this, and we wanted to kind of plan out our gaming year so we could get some of our favorites and some of our shelf of opportunity games to the table and really dive into them. So that was sort of the impetus for the 5x5.
Yeah, and a 5x5 is so much fun because I know in the past there have been times where we get a big game like Lisboa or something to the table and we only play it once or twice. And so it's really satisfying to get 5 plays in, to get multiple plays in, to sort of experiment with different strategies and to explore the game at a deeper level.
Yeah, it really changes, I think, my opinion of a game to play it 5 times. I really get to know it a lot better.
Yeah, so it's really fun. I don't know. I find it just super sating. So
Yeah, absolutely.
um, so our first game in January was Agricola.
And that was my gateway game way back when we started playing games. We played, I had been introduced to Ticket to Ride and a couple other board games and some party games, and they were fine and I enjoyed it, but I wasn't a gamer until we played Agricola, and that was it for me. It was love. It was love. Yes. And so we have the Farmers of the Moor expansion, which we hadn't played yet, and we were really excited to kind of relaunch our next phase of gaming with Agricola and with that expansion that we hadn't played.
Yeah, and playing it again, we've played Agricola a fair amount in the past, but it's been a few years because of my sickness. And it was an adventure. The first couple of games were so punishing.
Oh my God, there was a game where I was like, I hate this game. I don't like this game anymore. I hate this game. Like table flip material. Just,
We were just having trouble feeding our families. It's a story of life.
Yeah, it can be so frustrating. But the more we played it, the more I kind of grabbed on to how to do that and what the different strategies are and how to base my strategy on the cards that I was getting and kind of change up what I was doing, instead of trying to play the way that worked for me one time when I didn't have the same cards. And so really, the more we played this, the more I remembered how much I love it and why I love it.
Yeah, and I always wanted a little more out of Agricola. And what we finally got to the table was the Farmers of the Moor expansion. And it really delivered. I mean, it adds in, you cut peat, you heat your home, you get punished if you don't heat your home. Well, it's not quite as punishing as not feeding your family, so apparently they can be cold.
Yeah.
But
better to be cold than hungry.
Better to be cold than hungry. So at the end of the game, you don't even worry about it. So
yeah, and I think also the Farmers of the Moor expansion gave you one more way to get resources, and it's not a lot. It's still a pretty harsh, punishing game, but it was just enough more to make it a little bit less,
more is fun.
Table flippy.
More is fun. I always wanted a little more out of Agricola. It starts so slow, and you have to, those first couple of games back to the table, you have to remind yourself that those first couple turns, they're just always like that. They don't do much.
Yeah.
And it's not until like, I don't know what your 5th, 6th, 7th turn in the game that you start to actually do stuff. I mean, you can't even grow vegetables until like round 7 or something. I don't even know, 9 or something. It's kind of ridiculous, but it's so as long as you understand it's a slow burn like that, and you get used to that when you play it more often, some of that punishing aspect of the early rounds in particular, it's less of a factor. So
yeah,
at least in terms of it gives you less of a negative feeling.
Yeah.
So but I love Agricola. Agricola is a great game. We love the theme. I love the theme so much. I don't know why. Why does medieval farming so entertaining to me?
I don't know, but it sure is. And I think that the 5x5 judgment for Agricola for me is, yes, I still love this game. It is top probably 20 to 30 for me. Yeah. And it has held on to that position after our 5x5. What about you?
Yeah, similar. I think the Farmers of the Moor expansion helped, but it's definitely, I forget whether it's top 20 or top 30, but it's in that area
Yep.
for me as well. I really love it. So.
Yeah, me too. Our second game in our 5x5 was new to us. It was a Christmas present from Jayne to me. And it's kind of funny that it's on a 5x5 because I think we have over 30 plays of it at this point. And that is Scout. And we have talked about Scout, I think, before a couple times because we just love this trick-taking game. It is so clever, so unique. I love the mechanism of having to not be able to rearrange your cards and just play them in the order that they're in. And it, we are, as I said, 30 games in, and we got it for Christmas. At least 30 games in, maybe more. And
35, I think. Yeah.
35, and neither one of us is tired of it yet.
No, it's fun, and it's so quick, so it's, it's never going to be one of my top 10 games because as much as I love it, it's just a part of it's that it's quick, and
Yep.
that's why it gets as many plays as it does.
Yeah.
It's definitely a top filler though. So
yeah, it's up there with, I think, Silver and Gold is an all-time great filler. And I should add that one of the reasons why Scout is on our list is that we try not to load our 5x5 up with 5 super heavyweight euros to give us a little bit of wiggle room for days when maybe Jayne is not feeling well or I have some work events. And so we do try to keep some games on there that are a little bit light. Scout's probably the lightest.
If you want to learn more about our opinions of Scout, we did a review of it. We'll put a link of it in the description, but that's where we go a little bit more detail on the game Scout. So
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of heavy games in our 5x5, our next game is a heavy game in our 5x5. It's called Tabannusi. And this was really something, it was a slow burn at the beginning because it was a heavy learn. And part of that was not just the heaviness of the game, but it was like a little bit of the intuitiveness and a little bit of the rule book. I don't know, something with the way it was structured made it a little slower learn for me, but it's so good. We really enjoyed it. I love the heftiness of it, the choices in it. I really like the, we took some time after we did the review, we talked about it, to learn about the city of Ur.
Yeah.
We like historical tie-ins to our games that are not war, there was a point in the gaming hobby that most of your games that were historically based were almost always about war.
Yeah. And like not even just about war, but battle games,
or slavery.
Dudes on a map game.
Yeah.
So, or colonialism. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one or the other. And so, but this is a pretty cool game, and it's just about building up the city of Ur. And, it's got some cool mechanisms. We did a mechanism spotlight on the crates, which are a cool resource engine in the game. And we'll put a link to that as well in the description. We did a review of Tabannusi.
We did indeed.
So we talk in more detail about Tabannusi. So we picked a couple games off of 5x5 reviews because we're playing them a lot. So they were a good excuse for us to talk about a game that we really enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. This one really captured me. Spoiler alert, next month we're going to talk about some more tea games. And I won't tell you where this falls in my rank of tea games, but it's pretty high. I thought it was, I know some folks say it's not thematic, but it is. If you look at the history of Ur, the city of Ur, it actually is pretty thematic.
For some reason it doesn't feel as thematic as
I love it. I really, especially once I learned about the history of that city, I thought everything fell into place for me with this game, and it was so great to get it to the table. And we found that once we play some of these heavy games enough, they're really easy for us to get to the table. They become less cumbersome the more you play them because it just becomes more I don't know if intuitive is the right word, but sort of by rote or habitual that you can
Plus
just
you
play
get
them and
set
you know
up
what
down.
to do.
You get set up down, and that helps a lot.
Yeah, that does help a lot. And I mean, that is the other thing with the 5x5s is we don't put the games fully away. We keep them at the table. Sometimes we literally don't put them away. We just shove them aside to play other games, especially a big game like this. And it is one that I think we'll get to the table a lot more. I really liked it.
It's definitely a longer game, and but it's fun. It's immersive in that way. So for Euro, but although thematically it feels abstract, but it does have theme. At least it, the mechanisms make sense based on the city of Ur.
Yeah.
So anyway, Tabannusi is our third game in our 5x5. So
yeah. So our fourth game, looks like I drew the short straw for all the light games.
What? Oh.
Our fourth game that we played was Morels. And this is one that I love the theme of. I love mushrooms, but the idea of foraging for mushrooms. We have a lot of friends that forage for mushrooms, and the artwork is just gorgeous. And so we were super excited, and we tried to get this to the table while Jayne was sick, and it didn't happen. So we were so excited to get this back to the table. We played it a couple times. We're like, oh, we don't like this. Like this just...
We played it like 3 or 4 times before.
Yeah. And then we discovered we were playing it wrong.
A pretty significant error.
Yeah. So once we played it by the right rules, much better game. Really much better game. Now it's a filler, but it's a really enjoyable filler. It's, again, one of those games that the artwork, the theme, and the gameplay all work together just to make it like a really pleasant and relaxing experience.
If you ever have a bad feeling in your gut, and just go look back at the rules. That might be the feeling. I don't know what made me look back at the rules just to make sure we were doing everything right. And then when I did, it was like, uh-oh.
I can't even remember what rule we were breaking, but it made a huge difference.
Well, there's so in Morels you make a line of cards that's your forest. And in that line of cards, you occasionally get these night cards, these moon cards. And you're not supposed to, you don't find out what those moon cards are until they're in your hand. But we were revealing them immediately upon when they were in the forest. It really changes the game significantly.
Yeah. I think there was one other rule, but I can't remember.
There was something else we were doing wrong, but we were doing your hand limit wrong. It's a very strict hand limit. If you don't have room in your hand, you cannot.
That's what it was.
Do an action. So that had a big impact on the game as well.
It made it a lot tighter because without that rule, it was just like, obviously I'm going to take that card. Obviously I'm going to take that card. I'm going to take that card and discard this. Yeah. And it wasn't, there was no tension in it at all. And that, like you said, like one very small rule can really make the difference in the experience of a game. So lesson learned. If you don't like something, maybe check the rules.
Yeah, so it was our fault. It wasn't the game's fault at all. The game was fantastic once we got it right, and we even got to break out the Foray expansion, which adds sort of modular additions. Now, we didn't play them all, but we played some of them, and we had a lot of fun with them. They were just additional cards that you get to play the game with. So we need to play Morels more. I think that's one our friend Karen would like. For example, our friend Tom would like.
Well, all of our friends are crunchy hippies, so most of them are going to love this.
A little morel hunting.
Yeah.
So, but that's our idea of hunting. So, but Morels is a pretty fun card game if you're looking for. It's a little long for a filler, and I'd say the one negative is there's a fair amount of work maintaining the forest, the line of cards in the middle, because it's constantly moving, and then you're like, there's a decay, and you're adding cards to the decay, and then you're sliding everything down, and then you're adding a card at the end, and you're doing that again, 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 and I'm broken.
This is one, if you like digital implementations, which I'm not a huge fan of, but if you like them, this would be great digital implementation because there would be all of that upkeep that's kind of a pain would disappear.
And there is an app, so if you want to try it out, you could try the app. So
yeah.
But I like tangible playing, so. So our fifth game in our 5x5 is another classic, actually, and it's Orleans.
And that is going to be super high on my list when we do our top 100.
Oh, yes. I mean, that was... we
No, I mean, all right, I spoiled it, but I think you could have guessed that.
No,
anyway.
No, it's fine. We really enjoyed it, and playing another game where playing it over and over let us delve into different strategies, let us really get into the mode of, okay, well, what if I go heavy on the technologies, really heavy on the technologies early in this game, and what if I go really heavy on the buildings in this game. And in Orleans, it's a bag builder. It's got action selection, and it's got you got your own board with all these different actions, and you get to do the different actions, and it's just really cool. A lot of it's about planning, because you got to plan out to get the right, depending on what tokens you get out of your bag. You want to be able to plan out your actions and plan out good actions. So you got to get the right selection of tokens in your bag. It's really important. Now, we have the deluxe edition, which has the nice tokens, wooden tokens. You definitely want nice tokens. Like any bag builder, like Quacks, you want nice tokens for your game. It just makes a big difference. And I would say, what is this? A mid to heavy? It's a mid.
Yeah, I think it was like a
midweight euro.
Maybe 3.
Maybe around a 3 on BGG complexity.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So it's a heavy midweight.
Maybe 2.8.
You know, but it's on the heavier end of midweight, I guess.
It is, yeah.
It's not too bad, but it's, it's got a little bit going on. So we really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was so good. I really loved the bag building aspect of it. There's a lot going on. Like you said, there's a bunch of different strategies you can try, which just makes a game more fun, especially when you're going to play it a lot of different times, is to be able to explore different ways to try to win. Yeah. And also I find that when we play, so Jayne's a shark. Jayne's really good at games. She's been playing games like her whole life. She was into chess in high school, and she's really good at games. And I am not as good as her. I think I'm better for playing with her, but she beats me a lot, which, I like to win. And so sometimes when we play a game once or twice, like, I am focused on what do I need to do to win this game. I want to win it at least once. But when we play it more, I feel like a little bit more free to experiment, and if I lose, next time I'll try something else. And so I think that is something that I've found with playing these games like 5 times, that I feel a lot more free to explore different strategies. I still lose a lot, but that's okay.
We all? No, I don't know. That's good. I'm really glad we're doing these 5x5s, even if we're struggling a little, we're a little behind on our February one. We're not sure we're going to get it done, but we'll get close, or we'll finish it in early March. And that's the way it looks.
Yeah, so. And I just want to say, so we have this 5x5 plan for the year, and we hope to get through it as much as possible.
They're not all 5x5s, though.
We'll talk about Feldfest later.
Yeah, we have Feldfest, UA Fest.
But I want to say that with Jayne's illness, we're just really grateful for what we can do. And if we end up going a little bit into March because we've had some bad days this month, or because I had to travel for work or something, that's okay with us. So
yeah,
we're just out for fun.
The first half of this month, my health was really kind of crappy, to be honest. So
yep,
it's still up and down, but it's always up and down. So I play a board game and I have to take a nap.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
It's okay.
But
at least we're playing board games.
Exactly. So we're getting what we can out of it, and it's really fun. And so were you telling them what we're playing in February, or?
Yeah, why don't we tell them what our February list is?
Okay, well, we've already played through a couple games.
And we'll talk about those.
We'll talk about them next month, but we played through Teotihuacan.
And then Founders of Teotihuacan, we're just about done with.
Yeah, we're just about done with, but we also played through Tabannusi. So this is a heavy bunch, too. This is a bit... We just started on Mystic Vale, and then we have Edge of Darkness sitting on deck. So that's what I mean, we're a little behind. We haven't even played Edge of Darkness yet, and we've only played Mystic Vale once.
It's an ambitious list for a short month, but I have 4 days off this weekend, so we'll get some progress.
Some of it. We have a game night, which won't involve any of these games, on Friday night, and then that'll be party games stuff. It'll be later games for our friends, but
yeah. So that's our 5x5 for January, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks, or probably a little bit less, to tell you about our 5x5 for February and let you know what we're doing for March. We got a really exciting month in March. Actually, every month is exciting. So
yeah, we have goals for new games played this year too. So check that. We're gonna do a video on that too. So check that out. All right. Thanks for watching.
Remember, every day that you game
is a holiday.